Hello and welcome. My name is Eva, master's level professional in the field of psychology, author, publisher, and ghostwriter. And I am excited because we are having an interview with Karen, one of my clients. She is the author of the book, The Little Vagina That Could, Have Sex Without Pain. So Karen came to me with the completed manuscript. She already had her illustrations. I helped her out with the cover and the publication process. And let me tell you, when I went through her manuscript, I was blown away. Not only is it informative as far as the content goes, but she has some really amazing illustrations that we're going to discuss a little bit further. So without any further ado, Karen and I are going to talk about how she wrote her book, some of the inspiration, and how it all came together. Let's take a look. So I am here speaking with Karen, and it is an absolute pleasure to be able to speak with you. Your book, like I mentioned, looks amazing, and I helped you with the publishing process. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what your credentials are?
Thank you so much, Eva, for having me on. I appreciate that. So I am what's called a pelvic health physical therapist. So I'm a physical therapist that got additional training in pelvic floor rehabilitation, meaning anything that goes wrong with your bladder, bowel, sexual dysfunction, like I'm your girl to help with that. And so it's part of our physical therapy profession, and we will get credentialed or get board certified in different specialty areas. And mine just happens to be in the area of pelvic health.
Amazing. So how long have you been in the field?
25 years.
Amazing. So you have lots of good experience.
Yeah. So, and the majority of those years have all been in pelvic health, treating males, females, and children, anybody with a pelvis, which is everybody. So,
amazing.
Yes.
That sounds amazing. So, what prompted you to write this book? Was it just being in the field, getting people more information? What was sort of the catalyst?
Sure. So many of my patients that I treat are dealing with pelvic pain, and pelvic pain can look a whole bunch of different ways. And one is those that have difficulty with returning to sex or having pain with sex, period, from the get-go, and really not understanding their body enough to even know the questions to ask when they go to meet with their medical providers, and maybe not recognizing all the different contributing factors that might give them this experience of pain that they're experiencing. So the purpose of me wanting to write this book was to educate women about their bodies, specifically about what is going on and why can't I have sex without pain. And I purposely wanted to create it in a children's style book to take this difficult, scary topic to discuss and just try to normalize it and bring it to a level that would make people want to read it because it doesn't look scary. Right. And then they would be provided with resources to get them the help that they need.
Yeah, I thought that the like a combination of the information and, it's sort of something that I don't want to say taboo, but not necessarily something that you want to discuss with everybody. So a combination of how the information is presented and the illustration makes it something like a lot more fun, something that you don't necessarily think of when you think of pelvic pain is like sort of like you expertly brought these two like sort of things together, which is something that I really thought was amazing.
Thank you.
So when did you start writing your book, and how long did it take? Was it a long process? Did it sort of just all spill out on one weekend? Some people say, I just got the writing and all of a sudden I had a book. What was the process like for you?
So it took me a while, but when I got the idea, like I ran with it. So all the written portion of it, I'd say came out pretty quickly, but then, you start to second guess yourself, and do I have enough information in here? And so I let it sit for a while. And I am a clinical instructor, so I would have students come through, and I did have a student that kind of prompted me to continue along with this book, just because she thought that the idea was fantastic, and so many women needed this information, and to continue along with it. So I would say start to finish, probably like 5 years, but I had probably the majority of it written earlier on, and then it just took me a while because I didn't know where to go, like in terms of finding somebody like you, to help get to the next step. So I think I was at a stalemate for a period of time, just because I didn't know where to go next once I kind of had it put together.
Yeah, I know lots of people have that sort of same experience. They might get an initial burst, or they might, work on their project for a couple of months, and then they sort of get to a point where either they don't know what to say next, or they don't know how to get editing, or they don't know how to get published. And so it becomes overwhelming at that point.
Yes, very much so.
So what would you say was the most difficult part of the process then? Would you say just continuing on, or just putting everything together, or what would you say?
I think it was taking the next steps to know what to do with the book, and finding the people and the resources to push it through to finally get it. I think that was the most difficult, and I am currently in it right now, is the difficulty of how do you market it and get it out there. I mean, because that was the purpose of me writing this too, was to be able to really reach out beyond my clinic walls, to be able to get all this information out there to those who need it. And I'm struggling with that piece of it in terms of just the marketing and I guess social media, and just the awareness that is there. So I think that's where my difficulties lie.
Yeah, I will have some ideas for you for marketing, and we can discuss afterwards.
Great.
So one thing I wanted to mention, I'm going to put some pictures from your book onto the screen once we have this final part, but the first thing I noticed was how colorful and how just beautiful these illustrations were, and they're like custom. I've never seen anything quite in this style, which I thought was really amazing. So let's discuss your illustrator a little bit. The the illustrations are absolutely beautiful. How did you find your illustrator, and what was that collaboration process like?
So this is like interesting story. So my next door neighbor's granddaughter was in high school at the time, was a budding artist, and I of course chatted with her mother first, saying like, hey, I need some illustrations of vaginas and bladders and uteruses. Can I ask your daughter to be able to help me illustrate those things? And she of course was just like, of course, this will be a good education for her too, So it actually started off with Anna Short, and she's the one who kind of started off with the drafts of what we see here. She eventually went on to college. Of course, in those 5 years that I was stalemated, she went off to college. And my husband luckily works at Adrian College and has access to lots of students. And so I was lucky enough to come across Isabel Wright. And she loved the idea and was just like, hey, whatever you need to do to get this across the finish line, I'm here to help. And so that's what was the last final push. Like I'd say 2 to 3 months, she kept me on task of just like, here you go, this is the next one, let's keep going with this. So actually she was really helpful with kind of getting it across the finish line in terms of the final product to then bring it to somebody like yourself. So it was a combination of high school and college students.
That's awesome, because it sort of like exposure for both the author and the illustrator, which
absolutely.
So did she just sort of read the content and sort of come up with her own ideas, or?
Yeah, it was a lot of back and forth on what I was trying to convey, with the pictures. So the the expressions on the face, and what we were trying to gain within that section of the book. And so we would go back and forth with concepts of what we wanted it to look like, especially the counseling session, with the vagina and the penis sitting on the couch, just kind of talking through things. And we were just trying to come up with different ideas for that. So it was fun collaboration to try to get across what I was trying to convey in those sections of the book.
Right. Amazing. That's just really fun. It just sounds so like amazing and like inspired is what it is. Sounds like. So the final question I have for you, Karen, is what do you hope the reader gains from seeing your book, reading through it? I know you also put some resources, some really excellent resources in your book. What are you hoping readers take away?
Really, the main thing is I am resource girl. Like it's one thing to have the information and have good understanding, but you still have the problem of pain with sex. So until you can really, find those resources to be able to help you take the next steps in figuring out what's happening with your body, and then being able to overcome that's what I'm wanting is people just to be empowered with the knowledge, understand what's going on, and then be able to take the next steps to get the help that they need.
Amazing. So a really amazing book. It's all about helping people. And you know what? Everybody out there, if you're watching this, make sure I'm going to link a copy of the book. It's on Amazon, available right now. And make sure you leave an excellent review for Karen because it's an amazing, informative book.
Thank you.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you need any assistance with the writing process, feel free to reach out to me.